This one here is week 10, independent activity, linear equations. Question 1. If Winona rides for 3 hours on her bicycle, what is her rate if she rides 30 miles? So the rate is going to be in terms of miles per hour. So 30 miles, 3 hours. We need to get a unit rate. So I went ahead and divide numerator and denominator by 3, and I end up with 10 miles per hour for my answer. And that's what they have here for question 1. Question 2. If Thiago checks his pulse for 10 minutes, what is his rate if he counts 1,120 beats? So the rate is going to be in terms of beats per minute. In this case, we have 1,120 beats in 10 minutes. To find a unit rate, I divide my numerator and denominator by 10. I end up with 112 beats per minute. Question 3. If you drive 6 hours and travel 270 miles, what is your rate? Okay, so the rate is going to be in terms of miles per hour. In this case, 270 miles for 6 hours. We need to find a unit rate. I divide my numerator and denominator by 6, end up with 45 miles for 1 hour. That was number 3. Number 4. Find the slope. Find the slope of the line goes through the 2 points given. So for that particular one there, what you do first, you write out your slope formula, what you have here. You do second, you assign values to the points for your x1 and y1, x2 and y2. The third thing you do is you plug into your formula. And the fourth thing you do is you simplify it. 1 minus a negative 12 becomes 1 plus a positive 12. And you have 2 minus 3. And you simplify the numerator. You end up with 1 plus 12 is 13, and 2 minus 3 is negative 1. In this case here, my final answer is a negative 13. So summary again, write out your slope formula, assign values to your variables, plug into your formula, then do your computation. We know it's number 4. This one here, find the slope of the line that goes through the 2 points. Question 5. So it gives us 2 points. The first thing we do is write out a slope formula. The second thing we do, assign values to the variables in the formula. The third thing you do here is you plug in to your formula. Notice these points here have negatives, so don't forget to put the extra negative in there for them. So you write out your formula, assign values to your variables, and then you plug into your formula. Then the fourth thing you do is your computation. You end up with a negative 5 over 23 for our final answer. That was question 5. The next one is question 6. Find the slope of the line. The first thing you do, write out your slope formula. The second thing you do, assign values to your variables. The third thing you do is you plug in. And the fourth thing you do is you simplify. You end up with a slope of 0 for this one. This is question 7. The city's population in the year 1992 was 2,677,181, and the population was 2,673,800. Compute the slope. So the first thing I did was I wrote out my slope formula. Second thing I did was assign values to my variables. The third thing I did was I plugged into the formula. The fourth thing here is to simplify. You set it up completely first, and then you do your computation. And my final answer here, you have a positive 300, so it's increasing, have a positive slope. So it's increasing at a rate of 300 people per year. Okay, number 8. Superman needs to save Lois from the clutch of Lex Luthor after flying for 5 seconds. He is 975 meters from her. Then at 7 seconds, he's 85 meters from her. What is the average rate? Find the slope. The first thing I did was write out my slope formula. Second thing I did was assign values to my variables in the formula. The third thing here is you plug into your formula. And the fourth thing here is you simplify it. And your final answer in this case is what is the average rate? We end up with 45 meters per second. Number 9. Find the slope of the points. The first thing we do here, I wrote out my slope formula. The second thing here is I identify the 2 points, and I wrote them down. And I assigned values to the variables in the formula. The third thing here is I plugged into the formula. And the fourth thing here is you do your computations with negative 5/14. Okay. In this case here, the next one is number 10. So in this case here, we have find the rise and run. So my slope here. And this is my line here, and there's my slope there. So in this case here, the change in the y here, that is my rise. And the change here, the change in x, that is my run. So, the change in y, my change in x. Okay. So my run in this case is a negative 7. and my rise is a negative 10, and my slope is a positive 10 over 7. Number 11, given a line going through those 2 points there, which is the following is the correct slope. So I wrote out my slope formula here. Assigned values to my variables in the formula here, and then I plugged into the formula. Okay. And this is what they're looking for here. And which one is a match? And there's our match there. And there's our match there. Okay. Number 12, find the slope between the 2 points. So the first thing I did was I wrote out my formula. Okay, for this one here. So I wrote my formula, I assigned values to my variables. Then the third thing I do is I plug into the formula. And then the fourth thing here is I simplify it, take into account that it's fractions. Alright. Notice here, in the numerator, they have the same denominator, so I have 7 over 3 halves. These have the same denominator, so 23 minus 5 halves. Okay, so that simplifies there to 4 over 2, and 18 over 12. And then I rewrote that as a division, 4 over 2 divided by 18 over 12. Flip the second fraction, and you cancel, and then you multiply. You end up with a positive 4/3 here for your final answer. Okay. Is 13, is this a linear function? Yes, it is. Notice the x term there is a 1, x to the first power. So that means for each 1x, there is 1y. It is a linear function. Number 14, give the slope and y-intercept. So you give us the equation. I go ahead and I solve it for y, solve it for a positive y. So I subtract 9, minus 9 for both sides, and subtract 5x both sides. Okay. So to get it by itself, I subtract 9 here. This is positive, minus 9 plus 9. Here we have minus 5 or plus 5 here. So everything adds out, and I end up with y is equal to minus 5x plus 9. And I wrote y equal to mx plus b underneath it, so you can see that the slope is minus 5, and my slope-intercept is a 9. So you can see, it a little more clearly. So in the equation, you have a minus 9. I went ahead and added 9 to that side there, and I added 9 here. And then here, originally we have a plus 5. I subtracted 5x on both sides here, and I subtracted 5x on both sides there. So these cancel out and reappear on the other side. So I have y is equal to minus 5x plus 9. M is negative 5 and b is 9. And that's what they're looking for there. Number 15. Identify the slope. So I solve it for a positive y. Okay, so I subtract 5x on both sides, I have a minus 5x, so I add 5x to both sides, here and here. Then once I get to that point, I divide everything through by 3 to get y by itself. In this case here, we can solve it for y. Here, y is equal to a negative 5/3 x minus 6. My slope is a minus 5/3, and that's all they asked for. What the slope is, minus 5/3. Find the slope of the line. So I wrote out my slope formula. Assign values to my variables. And then I plug into the formula. And then the fourth thing there is I do my computation. Okay. So I end up with 4/3 for my slope. My final answer there. Okay. Number 17. Give the slope of the line here. So solve it for y, a positive y. So I have x plus x over 3, so I subtract x over 3 there, and on the other side here. Okay. And then at least with this equation here, y divided by 2. So I multiply both sides by 2. So the 2's cancel on one side. And then I have 2, a minus 2/3 x here, and I have 2 times 1, which is 2. So then I wrote y equals mx plus b to identify my slope. My slope is a negative 2/3. And my b here is 2. Y-intercept is 2. Okay. So I did that, give the slope and y-intercept. That's it for that there.